Hey, so I'm Stephan Janssen from Devoxx, and here with me is Dan Hardiker from Devoxx UK.
Hey.
Cool. So Dan, now that you have Devoxx UK, the next step is, well, obviously the question of will there be another Devoxx UK, but I think another bigger opportunity is that what about the children?
Yes.
Right? As you know, I've done the same thing where we started Devoxx4Kids, and we had like 70 children in Belgium, and the majority of these children were the children from the big kids that come to the big Devoxx. So any plans in that direction now? There's a UK edition here?
Well, absolutely. Having a 5 and a 10-year-old myself, I've got a keen interest in not just females in the developer community, being the girls, but also getting them involved in tech, as these girls didn't grow up like we did with a BBC Micro or some text-based system, and what they're giving is Xboxes and iPhones and iPads, and they're not given that same drive in order to have to create something in order to deliver. So we have this community around Devoxx, we have this community around JUGs and user groups that are set up, but we don't have that for children, and that's kind of being skipped now, and I think that I would love to see a UK children's event that's focused on delivering that to them.
Cool, yeah. So yeah, that definitely works, but what I also think is like, you have the Jade Duchess, where they want to have more women in IT, but they're like between 20 or 30-year-olds, and it's already too late. You really want to inspire children before they make their career move to actually go into an IT type of engineering direction.
And you have to be careful not to segregate them too early and identify that they're women in IT. You want to merge them together and make sure that they feel like they're just encouraged to take this IT passion and move forward it. The moment you think you're in a segregated group, you start to act differently, and you feel that you're segregated from the main, and that shouldn't be the case for the next generation, I hope, is that we have a group going through the stage, just like you have a whole group of kids going through high school, then hopefully we'll have these kids come through.
Yeah.
And so how did you find your Devoxx4Kids go in?
So we have an interesting dynamic in Belgium. We speak three different languages. So we had to organize it on a Saturday. We also did it in Flemish and in French. And we learned very rapidly that the second edition, it had to start from 10 till 4 and have sessions of 90 minutes, because that's their attention span. But you need to introduce also some cool things, like we had an hour robot, we had Lego Mindstorms, we had Scratch. And that's also fun for the adults. So, I would definitely suggest doing something in that direction. So it's also fun for yourself. And just seeing your daughter or your son doing that, it's a bit of, a connection. They actually say, oh, that's what you do, actually, So I would definitely suggest going in that type of direction.
So I came back from Devoxx Belgium, where you showed the Devoxx4Kids video. And I took that and showed it to my kids back at home. And they were like, wow, can we go to the next one? And so, can you organise this for me?
Really?
And absolutely. And how would you suggest someone goes about that? Do we have to go to teachers? Is this something that we can set up on our own? How do you get hold of these Lego Mindstorms and rovers? Where do we go from there?
So of course the first thing is a location. So the best thing is just to contact universities or schools and ask them if they have a computer room or multiple ones. So that's the very first thing you should do. And then basically you need to have 3 workshops. We've published all of our material online, so you can just copy it. It's already in English, so you can reuse that. So Scratch is a very interesting one to do. Then we had the Lego Mindstorms. That was actually sponsored by IBM. They provided us the hardware. So there's definitely companies that you can reach out to actually sponsor a bit of the hardware. So what you will need is Lego Mindstorms and some portables to drive that.
Yeah.
So do you have contacts there?
So we've already been talking with universities, we've been talking much earlier at primary schools, and there are other initiatives that help with that. There's some legislation that you have to deal with working around kids as a whole, but if you've got parents involved, it can make it easier.
Yeah.
And I think we're over the legal hurdles and some of the logisticals. Certainly having organised Devoxx and plenty of other events, the logistics of getting stuff involved is fine. I think the hardest thing for an event organizer who has been involved in tech and wants to go to that level is going to be getting onto the kids level and making sure that you're delivering something that interests them. As well, I might think delivering a platform is cool. We need to make sure it's relevant.
Yeah.
So I know my children's attention span is very low, and having played level 1 of a game, they never want to play level 1 again. So what are you going to do this year? Are you going to run it again? And
yeah, so
how are you going to
in Belgium we're going to do it in October again, so it's basically an annual event. I have now Daniel De Luca who's driving that. He's part of the Belgian Java User Group, and the idea would be to really come up with 3 new workshops, so it's also fun for us. And that might be an idea for you as well, is that we're going to run those workshops first for the big children, so for the parents. So we get actually feedback. They might actually, we're like teaching the teacher, because they could actually help us then also teaching it to their children. And if we're going to do that like 2-3 times, it's going to be really like perfect once we have to deliver it for the children. So that could also be a way of organizing it. Yeah. So you get loopbacks of feedback. So
as you mentioned that most of these are Devoxians with kids.
Yeah.
Do you think it's likely to spread beyond that?
I think so. A lot of children say like, "Wow, I'll bring up some friends the next time because it was really cool." They put it on Facebook, etc. So it's a chain reaction. It's like with Devoxx as well. Every year you will see another. If they're happy, they will invite friends, and it's a growing organic thing, right? So I assume that will be the same thing here.
Yeah. So what you've done in Belgium has really inspired me and has really given me the confidence to do what I was already wanted to do. And I think I've now got those tools to hopefully do them next year, if not at some point when I stop organising so many events.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to that. It would really be nice.
You'll be welcome as always.
I will.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Cool. Promo.